kingdom.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? It is David Palmer, the Leo King. We are here for the one and only Deep Astrology show, going into this week's astrology and taking it deeper and deeper and deeper and even deeper. Did you even think we could go any deeper in our soul work? It's always going to keep getting deeper. But you know, these last 6 weeks definitely have been some really deep shit. I'm going to put it that way, just because, of course, we had the 3 eclipses back to back to back like that, right? We had a solar, lunar, solar. We haven't seen that since 2011. Give yourself a round of applause for making it through. Woo! Now, usually when we come out of a major unique eclipse cycle like we just went to, we usually don't come out of it with 6 planets retrograde. So give yourself another round of applause for making it through eclipses with 6 planets retrograde. Yeah, it's definitely not something that you see every day, every month, every year, and sometimes even every decade. Now, this week, believe it or not, the energy is still got a lot of crazy, weird stuff, but there is some lightening of the load. So I want to put that out there to people, that you can start to feel like there's a little bit of air trickling through a extremely hot room where you can barely breathe, and finally the window crack on the seal lets a little bit of air in. So, whoo! Sometimes just that little bit of air is everything. You know, we have felt very kind of stretched spiritually and even kind of pressurized in many ways. And so this is definitely a week where we're going to look at the transits, we're going to talk about them, and there's some really positive things happening, and there's some finishing touches to a lot of the retrograde energy that we've been going through. So the first thing that I really want to talk about is, number one, here we are, beginning of this week. I always do this show on Tuesdays, and we've got Venus in Libra, and it's past the Saturn square, and the moon is in Libra with a beautiful conjunction today. So this is actually, finally, even though there's so much crazy stuff with all these planets retrograde, Venus is one of the planets that is not retrograde, and it's in its home sign. So this is one of the strongest planets right now in the whole zodiac, because it's at its dignified position, it's direct, it's not in a shadow period, and it's got the moon on top of it. So this is a wonderful and beautiful feeling where we can restore some sort of balance and order in our life and feel good about things again and see some sort of positive news. Now, it's not like it's the full possibilities, because there are 6 planets retrograde, including Chiron, which is retrograde, so you add that, that's 7. But there is this feeling of, okay, there's information. Remember, Libra is a very intellectual sign. It's a cardinal sign. Okay, it feels like some information, some sort of agreement, some relationship aspects have really come up in our life for us to emotionally feel. Where do we sit with emotions on relationships? Where do we sit on emotions with things that we're gathering in our life intellectually, of how to rebalance our life and feel better? So this is a positive thing to start the week off with. And we also have another positive thing going on throughout this whole week, which is Jupiter, the planet of expansion, fortune, knowledge, seeking, in Scorpio, which is going through the deepest parts of our emotional, sexual drive and an intense power, making a powerful trine to Neptune in Pisces, in its dignified home sign of our spiritual self, of spirituality itself, of looking at the unconscious and the conscious parts of ourself. And really, in many ways, this is us really having to trust the invisible. Remember that Scorpio and Pisces deal with hidden aspects. And Jupiter and Neptune are very positive. They're very forgiving. They always find a way, even through the confusion of Neptune or the over excess or the over amplification of Jupiter, there is always positive outlook of it all. There always is the clouds that break in the fog, or there always is, even through the amount of over excess or over amplification, the knowledge, the learning, and that everything always somehow ends up being okay. And these are happening in spiritual signs, water signs. And so what this is yes, the outer world is crazy as all these planets are retrograde, and this is about our inner world, and our inner world to our connection to our higher self, to God, to spirit, and to, more importantly, digging deep and finding out who we really are inside. And I kind of connect this with the Holy Grail. You know, the whole quest for the Holy Grail has been this external cup of Christ to bring you everlasting life. Well, what if I were to tell you that the Holy Grail really is about the holiness that you find inside yourself with the divine, with the power that you find with connecting to your soul and understanding your pitfalls, your greatnesses, and learning how to learn from that and to find your power through that. It's okay, you know, with having Neptune in Pisces, we have pitfalls. We have everything from inhibitions or subconscious things we do to ourselves, or addictions, or things in our life where we put ourselves, you know, and hold ourselves from our greater selves. But you know what? That's part of the whole learning process to make us great. And Jupiter trining this, the other planet that is direct, there's only 2 planets direct, remember, going forward. That's Jupiter and Venus, which, by the way, are very positive and very beneficial planets. So we're very lucky to have these planets direct. And it's making a powerful trine to Neptune retrograde in Pisces, saying, you know what? As we dig deeper and see who we really are and expose our truth, we cannot feel bad about who we are, what we want, what we desire. Remember, the sun is dignified in Leo, and that's another great position that we're going through. The sun is now out of the craziness of the eclipses. It's out of the weird angles to, you know, quincunxing Pluto and making weird angles to Neptune. And it's kind of out of a lot of the weird stuff. It's off the square to Uranus. So now the sun in Leo is starting to find its way to shine again and step back out in courage and find our strength in ourselves. But it's finding strength in ourselves through accepting the parts of ourselves that maybe aren't the best, maybe that we feel like, you know, we're looking at our life and realizing, you know what, there's parts of myself I need to change, and that's okay. And it's not about feeling guilty or feeling like you're a bad soul or you're a bad person. Like, it's about realizing this holy grail to bring everlasting life or bring the newness within inside of you. This is like a spiritual cleanse or a baptism of sorts from the universe through this time period. And I think that this baptism, I guess you could say, is because we are getting prepared. As the end of this week, Mercury this weekend comes out of retrograde, and slowly but surely through the weeks that are coming by after this, planets are turning back on. So the world is definitely coming back online, and there is a deep need for us to clean and wash spiritually, emotionally. A lot of what we've gone through, a lot of the things that we've been experiencing in our soul, in our depths, and more importantly, this is also revealing, because Neptune and Jupiter and water signs and Scorpio and Pisces are revealing deep spiritual truths in ourselves, especially with the sun in Leo. It's kind of like, you know, this, especially also if you combine Venus and Libra, there's a lot of like, man, this is, you know, who I am after these eclipses. You know, there is no room for denial. There is only room for acceptance of self, accepting what you really want, accepting who you really are. But I don't think that there's an actual, you know, full understanding of which direction to take all of that. The reason why I say that is Mars now retrograded, or it is retrograde, but it has retrograded back into Capricorn, where it's exalted, where it loves to be, although it's still retrograde. But at least it's retrograde in a place it loves to be. And you got to remember, with Saturn in Capricorn retrograde and Pluto in Capricorn retrograde and Mars retrograde in Capricorn, there's a lot of energy of like, I've got to get this done in the world. I've got these big, big things I got to do. I've got to step up higher. I've got to make my life and to get to this place. And Mars retrograde in Capricorn, especially because it's only 1 degree off now from its stationary position to where it will come direct and finishing this shadow retrograde zone, is actually remounting up energy. You know, it's kind of like regathering up a bunch of your vibe, your energy, and being like, I'm getting myself back. It doesn't necessarily mean you're leaping forward, but at least it's internalizing, I'm gonna get myself back on track. I'm gonna get this ship back in alignment. It's a lot like having a boat that has some crazy crack in it, and you know what? We're patching the inside. We're going to get back out there. Let's patch this thing. We can figure it out. There's a lot of really deep spiritual inner regathering of strength, figuring out energy. And the difficult part about this, though, is when you look at the outside world, you're going to be like, there's no way this can happen. Or why is this so delayed? Or why is this taking so much time? Or why isn't this all come together yet? It's fucking 6 planets retrograde. And if you had Chiron, it's 7 energies retrograde. It's a lot of retrograde energy. And it's retrograde city. So relax. Rebuild your inside. Jupiter trine Neptune is the ultimate transit of bringing and not only evaluating, but bringing up our beliefs in a higher realm. To trust in, to know that there's divine order to things, that there's divine timing in the way that life works. And even though, yes, Saturn and Pluto and Mars retrograde are almost demanding us to continue to push forward, even with the winds against us in many ways, the only way we get through that is by accepting that the universe is there for us. The universe can create magic for us in ways that we've never even imagined before, and can bring us, because you got to remember, Neptune and Jupiter are about bringing things. They bring us gifts. They bring us expansion. They bring us knowledge in different ways. They're very, very beautiful energies. And to me, I put a post up on my Facebook. I put a picture up of the Trinity Church in New York City because it really is kind of very deeply connected with spiritual practice, spiritual tradition, especially with Jupiter and Scorpio. You know, there's this kind of like occult energy or, you know, real deep need to, you know, satisfy yourself through deeper means of spiritual communication with yourself, spiritual traditions, and to stay balanced right now and stay cool in your life and not freak out about this outer world that's really all over the place and still trying to get together. Remember, coming out of eclipse season too and coming into 7 energies retrograde, it's kind of like you got your head spinning, but there's this part of yourself inside going, you know what? I got this. I can get back. And just that alone is one of the greatest gifts of all. You know, if you're looking for a prize right now or an externally like gift to just drop on you and be fully manifested at this point, I'm not saying it's not possible, but I'm just saying it's probably the beginning steps towards it. But it's about rebuilding this inner trust in the universe, rebuilding this inner trust in yourself to be able to manifest and go where you want to go. Now, when it comes to the moon this week, it's going to make its big first quarter square over to the sun in Leo. Now, this is interesting because Jupiter is in Scorpio, and so the moon will pass over Jupiter midweek. But what it's doing is it's going to bring up especially our true heart, our true expression of character, our way of how we shine, and face these deeper emotional and obvious truths in ourselves of our desires, our wants, our needs, and see if they're in alignment. And especially because Uranus is still, of course, in Taurus and it's retrograding, it's still activating a lot of the energy that's going on with what's going on in fixed signs, which is your true self, like who you really are, the real self of what you want in your life, how you want it to look. And the moon in Scorpio, remember, is not in its best position, right? You know, it's not exalted like it is in Taurus. It's quite opposite than that, you know. It's technically what we like to say at its fall position. So we cannot emotionally attach ourselves to parts of our life, our heart, our character, that we're not feeling fully invested in, that we're not emotionally all in about. Especially as Jupiter's trying to rocket launch our true self out and expose our true self out. This could be a little difficult because, especially with Mercury retrograde in Leo through this week, during this big quarter square transit of the square of the moon and the sun, you've got this Mercury retrograde, which is still squaring Jupiter in a way. And what is it doing? Is it wants to communicate out how it feels, the heart is, but it doesn't, you don't want to do damage at the same time either. And it's almost like, even though you want to do the changes and you want to see the changes in your heart in the way that it is, it's almost like it's going to take some time. So it's like just being like real and knowing in yourself this week that the universe is somehow going to make that all happen, and learning to ask the universe. One thing about Jupiter and Scorpio is the ultimate lesson about asking God for what you need. So prayer, meditation, things that are telling you like, okay, God, this is what I really need to show up in my life. You know, and if it's in divine order with a higher conscious place, you know, asking $1 million to go buy a bunch of fucking cocaine or something might not be in your divine order. You know what I mean? So you're not going to get everything that you ask with Neptune trine Jupiter. It better be on the highest conscious, most positive spiritual level. And that's why I'm saying there's like a holy grail aspect to this. There's like a holiness to this whole week. And even though we want to express ourselves and communicate ourselves in a way to where, you know, it's like, I'm not feeling good about this, or I don't like this. That's very moon in Scorpio, sun in Leo, Mercury retrograde in Leo. It's like, I'm not into this. It's like, we have to be careful with Venus in Libra. We've got to play the diplomat. We've got to play in a way to where we got to make things to where we don't lose balance, because we're already at a place in our life right now where we're all just kind of hanging on by a thread after all this stuff that's gone on. So creating chaos or creating confrontation or creating things that are going to be disharmonious really fast just because you understand the feeling and you want to react to it fast, and it's Mars retrograde. So it's like, this is still Mercury and Mars retrograde. So be careful Thursday into Friday, because that's when this stuff is going to mount up, and we're going to show that stuff in the charts. Of course, we always do that here on Deep Astrology. And then, of course, this weekend is a big deal because Mercury is coming direct in Leo. But what's powerful is Mercury will come direct sextile Venus, which means all the stuff that you're going to go through this week of how you feel deeply and where your deep emotions are and where your desires are and where your heart's at and what you feel's a better path for you and the way that you want to express that in the world, and after asking for it in your own inner space from the universe, by the end of this weekend with the moon in Sagittarius in a positive, cheerful space with the sun in Leo, with Mercury direct, sextile Venus, you will start to see how you can not only talk your way, but figure out ways to make all those deeper feelings and the things that you need in your life possible. So give it till this weekend. Don't try and, go against the grain too much this week, or push things way too fast or hard. You will overdo it, and make things way too chaotic in a time where that chaos is something that you're not going to want in your life. And I think it's very important to pay attention to that, because if you're hanging on by a thread, imagine just throwing just more wrenches in the fucking machine and just, I mean, we already feel like that. We already feel like that. This is a week about restoring order and balance in our lives, order and balance in connection with God and the universe, learning to ask and learning to see what we want. And of course, this is the ultimate test of patience that you'll ever have, with 3 planets in Capricorn retrograde, Mars in its exaltation, Saturn in its dignity, Pluto, which is demanding and needs and wants, and with the Sun in Leo, which is very like, I want it now, this makes me happy, and the Moon in Scorpio, I will do anything emotionally for this feeling, or I will let go of this and kill it emotionally now. I don't like it. This is not about turning into a dark king or a dark queen. Sorry, this is not a good time for that time. Maybe you don't like something. Maybe you want something really bad. My precious. When you start getting into all my precious energy, this is like, it's so funny. I'll watch movies and I'll be like, how the hell did this situation happen? And I've been thinking lately, I'm okay, I don't know who's ever watched the show Lost. It was one of my favorite shows in the 2000s. It was an ABC show. If you never watch it, you should watch it, but a lot of people have. It's about people on a plane crash, and they all end up on this island. They have no fucking clue what the hell's going on. And literally every episode is trying to figure out more and more what's going on. That's where we're at. It's like we are all in Lost right now, okay? Or let's use some crazy other analogies, like The Walking Dead. That would be kind of something crazy that would happen with 7 planets or 7 energies retrograde during crazy eclipse season. In a multiverse that we're in, ours happens to be the world looks crazy as it is right now. People are tripping out about what side is better in politics, what's going on with the global economy. I mean, honestly, there's some great astrologers out there pointing out the global economy and weird stuff with money. There's a lot going on right now. There's a lot. So during these times, it's kind of like, let's not turn into, our dark, subconscious, I need this to feel good now, I am not patient enough, and start blasting towards that without creating confrontation. It's like you can't create confrontation. I'm sorry. This is not about, this is about learning to find some fairness, some time, some balance, some being equal and finding a way to be fair in all ways and letting time kind of run its course. By the end of this weekend with Mercury direct, we're going to be feeling a lot better. And then on top of it, August 27th comes around and Mars turns direct. And then following that, the beginning of September, Saturn comes direct. And then we get Pluto coming direct. There's a lot of things that are going to be turning on, okay? And especially, let's look on the broader scope of things real quick. Venus, it's in Libra. It's at home. It's positive. It's not in shadow, not till 25 degrees. And this month, Venus ain't hitting 25 degrees. So you know what? Ride out these positive connections and relationships and see where they go. Because Venus is about to go through its craziness next month when it enters shadow period and it gets ready to come into Scorpio where it's at its detriment. It's not happy there and it has to go through a retrograde. So the number one thing I think to learn from all this is you can see and know what you really want. And there's awesome connections and people that you've seen. I mean, think about this Mars retrograde in Aquarius that has been going on ever since June, right? Since it happened. There has been so many people in your life this whole summer or winter, wherever you're at. It actually even goes all the way into the spring, right? This has been, a long 3 months of lots of new people, lots of new worlds, lots of crazy connections. And how are they all going to work and come together in this true passion, secretive, true heart self that you really are? Okay, how's it all going to come together? Right now is about accepting what you've got, accepting the way people are, and giving a fair and honest chance with people. And all that relationship stuff, which I think is the biggest part of 2018, and I've said it. If you watch my 2018 forecast and everything, like the events that are about to go down from the fall of 2018 into the beginning of 2019, and actually throughout 2019, are about the biggest shift in relationships we've ever seen in our lifetimes. And so the relationship thing, we all know, we all feel it, but this is a time for us to, I don't want to use the term purgatory, but it's about feeling things out and being fair and honest and chilling out about it and asking the universe for answers and signs that it'll be more than ever of where to go and how to deal with it without causing crazy confrontation. Because confrontation or battles or egoic battles about how you want to feel or how it should look or how I want this to be is going to create so much pressure on you and so much disharmony, it will be very difficult to get through this kind of a week with that. We don't need that in our lives at all. So let's have some fun. Let's go deep into the charts. Why not? Why shall we? I'm going to have a little bit of Sprite real quick here. And by the way, I don't know, some people might notice this, but I actually changed the way that I'm doing the charts. I'm going to be using a new system. We're going to try it out today. And I got to give a shout out to Rick Levine, because Rick Levine, I don't know if you guys know, I hope you guys all watch Rick Levine. Not only is he a good friend of mine, but I think he's one of the best astrologers in the world. One of the nicest, coolest guys on the planet. And he was the one who was like, oh, I've been using the Microsoft Surface, with, not Astro Gold, but same people, SolarFire. And I've been using SolarFire for years. And he was like, you should do this. And he showed me at the United Astrology Conference, he showed me how he was doing this. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to try that. I'll be honest with you. I've always been a PC guy, but my Apples are all breaking. I have 2 MacBook Pros and they're broken and they need to get turned into Apple to get fixed. Like there's stupid, weird stuff going on with them during this Mercury retrograde and Mars retrograde. So long story short, let's take a look at the charts. And I kind of want to show you guys this first, this picture that's on my background here. So of course, this is Botticelli, The Birth of Venus. It's my background. And I want you guys to all look at it because Venus in Libra is this picture, okay? It is beauty, harmony, balance, natural beauty. And it really is this divine masculine and feminine that's coming together. Like, it's pretty cool with this thing, so watch this. So, like, I can do a little screen sketch here. So, let's not use that. Let's use a better color. We'll use red for the man. So, I even like if you look at the divine masculine and then if you look at the divine feminine, I don't even know what color that would be, but girls are pink, so we'll give them pink. If you actually look deep at this, and I'm wondering if I'm able to, oh yeah, actually I know what I can do. Hold on one second. We can go to pictures, we can go to, so I got the actual, this is from Google and they took a real crazy high def picture of this painting, right? So like when you zoom in, you were like in it. You were like in this, it's pretty crazy. Oh, I don't want to do that. But anyway, you could see the air being blown on her because Libra is an air sign. So see the air even coming out of that? Oh my gosh. I'm getting used to this thing. Well, it really doesn't like zooming in too fast, I guess. So it's such a big picture. It's like insanely huge. Like it's really one of the biggest pictures, but I really want to focus on this air. There we go. You know, it's blowing that air, that intellectual, but that harmony and that balance and that beauty. And so this is a time for us to find that inside. And I love how this woman is also draping the beautiful cloth and the drape to put over her. And I love also how Venus is naked and got her beautiful flowing hair, and she's all natural. And it's about that natural beauty. And there's so much about that energy that we have to find right now in ourselves and in the energy around us. And it's there waiting for us if you're willing to look. So let's go into the charts now and take a look. I'm running a clock on this thing. So yeah, it's 7:04 p.m. And this is where the planets are right now. So let's take a look and let's screen sketch this and look. So look at this beautiful Moon-Venus conjunction that we've been having. It's been about rebuilding that beauty and that harmony and seeing how we do feel about certain partnerships and learning to find some fairness and learning to give a little of our ego away and help and see what other people have. And it's also some very interesting contacts and connections that are building. It's also interesting to see, right, the Mercury retrograde, which is happening here in Leo, which is getting ready for its nice sextile to Venus all week. So this is us really keeping to look at what we like, what we don't like, what's going to be the best for us with beauty and happiness and harmony. But it's all at the same time while, of course, you know, Mercury is still in square to Jupiter. So it's like not letting ourselves look at the dark too much or get too caught up in dark energy or get lost in that or see things too much from a bad position or having a negative outlook on things. It's very important not to do that. And then I really want to show you guys all this stuff going on in Capricorn. Now Mars is officially retrograde at 29 degrees. Then we've got, of course, Pluto at 19 and Saturn. And look at Saturn and Uranus. Oh, that was a bad trine, but we'll use it anyway. 2 degrees and 2 degrees. So there's a lot of great energy going on here, even though there's a lot of planets retrograde. And so coming Tuesday, it's about restoring that balance, that harmony, and all those things in life that, you know, I think are extremely important to us. And following that. Now, if we move on, honestly, when I look at Wednesday, it's not the craziest day ever. Like, it really isn't. Like, it's really more about us continuing to find that beauty. But with what I'm going to show you guys here is, well, yeah, how did I do that where I could zoom in on this thing? That's the one thing that I wish I could do is zoom in. I wanna have a keyboard. Where's my keyboard? Give me 1 second, guys. This is a new thing. On-screen keyboard app. Okay. I think I can do like Control Plus or something. Let me see here. No. No. Anyway, long story short, we don't need to do that. We could just have some fun here today. Let me just show you. This moon is going to square over to Pluto, and then it's going to square over to Mars retrograde. So our own demands, our own wants, our own needs are definitely going to be on the negotiating table with other people, other systems, and especially as the buildup of this Sun-Moon square in Scorpio is getting ready, and as Venus is getting stronger, there is this like, are you going to try and battle your way through things and demand things? Or are you going to find the fairness and the balance and the harmony with situations in your life? There's already been so much craziness going on. It's like, and this goes outside of just relationships. This goes for just in how hard you might be pushing for certain things or how intense you might be going about things. And are you giving yourself enough harmony and breaks and balance in it? Or are you just pile driving too hard? The moon in Libra is going to be like, I don't know if I can juggle all this stuff. Remember, there's no energy in Cancer. 0 right now. 0. So, you know, it's all Capricorn stuff. And this moon in Libra is like, okay, like there is no balance for me to look at how you're taking care of yourself, or are you paying attention to the emotions of other people or the emotions? And so, yes, we all have shit that we want. We all have stuff that we're just driven to have in our life right now. But I think it's important with this Jupiter trine Neptune, which I'll show you guys in a second here, that it's an extremely important time to go with the flow of things. Be open. Be open about situations. This is all these planets retrogrades trying to bring in great things. Allow that in. Don't be afraid. Stop trying to push this ship your own way. You know? It's like getting on a big fucking pirate ship and like by yourself trying to run the whole boat. Like, you're going to need some other people on the boat. You know what I mean? Like, not going to happen all by yourself. And I think that that's the reality check is, oh, I want to get these places in my life. I need these outer resources. That's why Jupiter's in Scorpio, and that's why Venus is in Libra. And if we look at this, so let's look, you know, it's like Venus in Libra, right? We've got this Jupiter trining Neptune, which is great. So we need these outside resources, right? We need them. And on top of that, with Venus, we need great partnerships. And how funny that if you even look at Uranus, which is in Taurus, right? In order to build, we need, whether it's great ideas, but we need others, and we need to connect with others in order to create things, especially as it's in trine to Saturn and Capricorn. And it's about aligning with people who are on the same page, that have a similar goal, but are coming from two different places, and learning to integrate that. And I think that's very important this week. And to not push your ego on people, to not like get so overloaded on people like, oh, I'm sorry, it's not going the way I want to, fuck you. You know, it's kind of like, whoa, how are you going to get this all done? So it's a very important time because with the sun in Leo, yes, especially with Saturn in Capricorn, I mean, those are very kind of, I want it my way, right? But Venus is trying to, and especially with the moon in Libra, and all this Libra energy is trying to be like, whoa, guys, like everybody can win here. Everybody can find a way to make this all beautiful and harmonious. Like, you all don't need to do it like so crazy and so intense. And yes, we're all running to the races as fast as we can, but it's like there's a lot of blockages, and there's ways to get through it this week by finding that peace, taking moments to process things before you jump into it. If you're jumping into things too fast and you're pushing it too hard, and you're pushing your ego too hard, or you're pushing yourself and you're reacting, because reaction is everything with Mars retrograde, especially in Capricorn. Reaction to authority, reaction to what I demand my goals should be. Mercury retrograde, I'm not happy in my heart. I'm going to speak some really weird angle of that and how I feel like it should be. There's a lot to think about with that one. Now, this is where the stuff gets really interesting, in my opinion, which is on August 16th, on Thursday. The moon enters Scorpio, and as you can see here, there's all this stuff going on in Scorpio. We'll give Scorpio its true, red color, all right? And so the moon is going to square the nodes in Leo. And, oh, this isn't showing the south node. I haven't set that up yet. In Aquarius. And that's a square right there. And it's also going to square Mercury retrograde, which is at 11 degrees. And this is the degree in which it will come direct this weekend. So Mercury by the 16th has officially come back to the position in which it's going to come stationary direct. So this is a very positive thing. This is very good. But this moon in Scorpio is going to start digging up how it really feels about things, what it likes, what it doesn't like. But that Venus in Libra, which I'll put in a very nice, beautiful, like turquoisey color, is saying like, let's find a way for everybody, for it all to work. How can we all make this work? You're going to have to give up a little bit to get what you need. And I think that's part of a lot of retrograde energy. It's like, if you really are going to try and do this all yourself and push everything all in on your own and push it so hard, you're just not, I'm sorry, you're not going to get there. It's like you're going out to sea with no wind and you're rowing a whole entire 100-foot sailboat by yourself. No motor. And so with the moon also squaring the nodes, after an eclipse, I think what it's bringing up is, okay, yeah, this is what's in my heart and what I want. This is the things that I don't like and maybe I want to disconnect from. But I am going to have to find a way to balance all this and kind of wait for time to run its course, unfortunately, for some and a lot of people. And if we actually look at the next day, which is the big dog day, the reason why I say that is this is when the sun is going to square, or the moon and the sun are going to have their square. Let's see, that's going to be at 25 degrees. That's going to be Saturday morning at 1 in the morning. That's Pacific, so that's 4:06 a.m. Eastern. And if we look at this, this is interesting to me. Because one, I do like this color a lot. As the moon squares the sun in Leo, look at this. Mercury is going stationary, getting ready to come direct, okay? It's going it's stopped, it's ready to move forward. And so this is a very crucial point for people to not lose it or go crazy or, this is what I want and I'm sorry and da-da-da-da-da. It's like, know what that feeling is. Mercury is sextiling over to Venus and try and find peaceful solutions, harmonious, and try and see, try and at least accept what could happen. Try and accept what the beauty of situations are like. Mercury's just coming direct. Are you going to just run to the races after the first planet finally comes out of retrograde? Like, while there's still Mars retrograde and Saturn and all the big dogs that make things really happen. Remember, Mercury's the smallest planet. It's small. It's like a little piece of sand. And it's these little things in our life that we're going to try to either, overcompensate for things or try and express ourselves in a way. But we need, with Venus there, it's like, it's good to speak. It's good to come from the heart. But it's not going to be good to use our fangs to sink our teeth in to people. It's going to be better to try and find solutions, or harmonious ways. If you're really in a position where you are just not happy, you can't wait, you feel like you got to get on the trail, we'll find a peaceful and positive solution to it all. That's really what it's going to be. And inside of yourself, this is forcing us to rethink about life in a positive way and rethink about life that it can be more positive, that it can be beautiful, that there is beauty surrounding us. And this is all while Jupiter and Neptune are still in their trine, right? Jupiter at 1529 as Neptune's 1537. I mean, this is pretty much exact while Mercury's coming direct. Let's look at that on the next day, which of course is Saturday. It's going on. Saturday, Mercury still retrograde, stationary. And if you look at it, we've got Neptune at 1536 and we have Jupiter at 1535. I guarantee, oh, look at this. This blows my mind every time. So let's look at the minutes, okay? Oh, yep. The second that Mercury comes direct, and here, now we got to have some, now we'll show this thing off. Okay. The second that it happens at 9:24 p.m. Pacific, so Sunday night, midnight, 24 East Coast time, Mercury comes direct at the exact same time that Jupiter is at exact, within 1 minute. I'll guarantee that I could just move the chart a couple minutes and Jupiter will move to 1536. When you rethink your life, and I want to say this to camera, like when you are now in this new thinking about your heart, the moon's just squared the sun, in Scorpio and Leo, our true defining selves, Jupiter's trining Neptune. Come from a place of positivity and take the time to listen to the signs and see what God has to say and see what is brought down in the spiritual world instead of trying to control this whole ship and control this crazy world and get it to the place that you want to. Like, go with the flow. This is definitely not the great time for nagging or, getting upset about the pressures of trying to figure the whole world out. I know it feels like it's paramount. I know it feels like it all has to be done right now. But Mercury direct, as it sextiles Venus, as Jupiter and Neptune exactly trine on the fucking exact second that Mercury comes direct, is telling me, oh, maybe it's not as crazy paramount as I really thought it was. Maybe there is so many solutions. Maybe there is positive things. Maybe there are the right partnerships out there. Maybe there are all this stuff, and in time, all this will all come together, and it will. So it's definitely not a week to try and flip the script on shit and get all crazy on shit. It's kind of interesting, too, that the sun is trining the galactic center energy during this period as well, but that's a whole other story. It's for astro nerds. So let's look at Sunday, which I'll move the clock back a little bit here. And this moon in Sagittarius is really cool because what it's doing is it's the optimist. It's looking at a more positive, better solution to things. And that's what it really truly wants, is that more positive solution, those more positive aspects. And so I think it's extremely important to allow that stuff to come. And I think especially when I look at all this stuff, Mercury direct, nice Venus, Jupiter's been trine to Neptune. There's a lot of positives here. Mars is also going to finish up at 29, which is a very edgy degree. And with hours of itself, Mars will come into 28 degrees, which is the degree in which it will come direct. So not only is Mercury and Mars at the degrees in which they finish their retrogrades per se, but there's a lot of positive stuff going on in the universe that's starting to mount up. And if we look at the next day, the moon's going to be getting ready on Monday to come through Capricorn with all this Capricorn energy. So it's important for us to think about our actions and think about how we're going to react this week to what we want and how we want it, because next week, which will be right there on the 20th and 1 week away from Mars turning direct, the moon is going to join this extreme amount of Capricorn. And that's going to fuel the, I need to get this way and I need to get this thing done. And trust me, you're going to feel it. Next week, you're going to be like, holy shit, I've got to run to the races. At least Mercury's direct, so it's like you can figure it all out. Don't trip yourself out and think you can't figure shit out. You can. But this is definitely about not freaking yourself out this week, about shit not fully coming together at the right timing for you and all that stuff. Getting all crazy on people, getting heavy emotions out, start, trying to end situations because you're not happy. This is about you facing kind of like your own inner child baby that's just not happy and doesn't know how to grow into what you want and finding solutions and finding some harmony and finding some positive solutions. Instead of, I don't like it, I'm fucking out of here. I'm done. This is not what I want later. Like, this is a huge lesson for a lot of us as we are coming out of that crazy time, and it is pretty gnarly out there. So, let this energy slowly, and I want to say this too because it's funny. At the end of the day, why, after so much crazy tension and spiritual craziness that we've been through, would we even dare try to amplify that energy anymore this week? It's on us whether we're going to choose to amplify the drama. You got to remember, a moon in Scorpio and a sun in Leo is dramatic. And it's not drama of fun on stage. It's heavy, emotional, dark, or extreme passionate, like, like, I want this. This is us learning to put control on situations and find peaceful things and give people a fair chance and see things through because maybe we're not thinking fully straight. This is a week where we're not thinking fully straight. We see situations, and right away we go to assume, to think, yeah, this ain't what's good, or this isn't what I like, or this isn't the way that I like it. This is very Leo time, right? I'm not happy. I'm the king or queen on my throne. I don't like the way that this is all coming at me because it's all these planets coming at you in retrograde, right? So it's about learning, why do you think every king or queen has a diplomat? You send the diplomat because the king or queen's going to get all fucking pissed and fucking ruin the whole fucking deal or ruin the whole fucking world. So it's like, send the diplomat in. Think of yourself as sending yourself in as a diplomat to all these situations, giving people a fair thing, listening to their side, seeing how you can benefit on both ends. How are you not going to burn yourself out? How are you not going to burn yourself out? Because we're all burned out right now. This is about learning the win-win in life and not going crazy. This is about learning that we've been through craziness. We will get the things we deeply desire and want in our life. But we got to ask for it, and the universe has to turn it out, and the universe will send you signs that it's true. And maybe you might be experiencing all this deeply within inside of yourself. With 7 energies in retrograde, this is all internal. This is so much internal energy with Jupiter, Trine Neptune, with Mercury retrograde, with all these planets retrograde, with a moon in Scorpio. It's deep, personal, inner shit. And an outside world that no matter how much you try to change it to feel the way you want to inside, that ain't gonna happen. Sorry. So why don't you just accept the way that it is and find the beauty in that? And we'll have some fun for a sec before we go here and just kind of look at this picture again, because I think it's interesting to be like, to me, I think this picture is beautiful as hell. But to some, they might be like, well, I think nudity is horrible. Or, I don't know, I think it's boring. Or it's too old. Or who knows, right? We all can look at things. But it's like the ultimate acceptance of true beauty. And true beauty is more than just integrity or how you act, but the acceptance of who you are, what you have, and learning to see through, giving a shot to acceptance of peace and harmony and experiencing the emotions that you don't like, but experiencing it through going, I'm going to see and I'm going to be fair and I'm going to give it my best shot. And then, when this year, especially at the end of this month, when Mars comes direct in Capricorn and you can really make some tough decisions and, Venus is going to go through its shadow period and stuff. Yeah, now that's when we're going to change those situations all up. But now is not that time. Now is about maybe understanding that inside, but being willing to accept how things are going and find peace and find beauty and find a way for diplomatic solutions, non-confrontation, and this is a true test. If you, on your mouth, with Mercury coming at the last degrees of its retrograde in shadow, while Jupiter's trining Neptune, it's like, are you going to use your mouth? Are you going to use your expression of yourself as a positive spiritual thing? Or are you going to do it as a over-amplified, unconscious, magnified, this is how I want it. This is how it is, It's like, this is trigger shit too. So, what we went through in the last 6 weeks was gnarly. And I'm going to be real. 2019 has some really intense stuff. 2020, extremely intense stuff. 21, 22, 23, and the endings of Pluto and Capricorn. I mean, with all the other stuff, with Uranus, and you should see some of the history of what goes on. And that's why I didn't promote this video, but I don't know if you guys know, I did a 5-hour video. It's called Rising Through the Darkness. I've now brought it to inclusiveastrology.com to buy. It's $15 for 5 hours, and it literally plans you out and shows you the history and shows you what the fuck is coming over the next 5 years. And I give you all of the preparation to deal with energy, because whatever the last 6 weeks did for you in your life, I guarantee you, if you would have been more prepared and felt, we can try and be as prepared as we want, but when you understand what's coming, it's a lot easier to deal with it. And so that's why, it's weird. I did this video, I put it out at the beginning of the year, and not a lot of people bought it. Not a lot of people looked at it. I probably didn't talk about it enough. But I feel like now that we've been through all this crazy shit and we are feeling the buildup for this next decade, let's be real, we're in 2018, almost done. We got one more year left and we're in the 2020s, and we're coming into the Saturn-Pluto conjunction. We're coming into Jupiter-Saturn-Pluto. We're coming into Jupiter and Saturn in conjunction. We're coming up into the final degrees of Pluto and Capricorn, where the Revolutionary War and the Declaration of Independence, and we're coming into Uranus, coming bigger into Taurus, where all the crazy world changes and all the alliances change. We're talking about money changing in huge ways. We're talking about relationships are about to go through their biggest transformational experience ever. Check it out now, inclusiveastrology.com. I've put it up there. Super easy, and it's an awesome 5-hour video that I think you'll really enjoy and really get some depth. I also go into the last 5 years, and I even go into the 5 years after 2023 and kind of show you like where things are then. So you get a whole picture of what this next 5 years are like framed in. I want to thank you all so much for always being there, for watching my daily videos on futurelife.tv, and always just supporting me. I got so much love and so much support through these eclipses. Not only video view wise, but comment wise, and emails and Instagram, inboxes. I'm just overwhelmed with so much love and support, and it's gratitude. And I want to end with what Jupiter and Neptune trine really is. It's ultimate gratitude. Gratitude is the attitude this week. Be grateful you have these situations that are coming into your life, and make the best of them. Don't put your ego so far into them, and I guarantee you it'll be brought back. Give all your anxieties, give all your crap, give all your fears to God. Give it to the universe. It's wanting them to take them and clear them out of your system. This is a week to detoxify spiritually and to allow whatever happens the way that it's supposed to be. And know that it's all in divine order. And if some people freak out on you or do crazy stuff or, that's on them. That's not on you. You don't need to be the judge of their character and who they are. That's not what Venus and Libra is about. Venus and Libra is about, okay, well, it's not fair and balanced. That's just the way it is. Okay, yeah, fine. Where's harmony else somewhere? It's not about demanding that they change and they be a certain way. And this is definitely about giving yourself this spiritual baptism, asking the universe, and more importantly, having gratitude for the things that are coming your way, and that you could even work things out and make things happen. Because we're all beat, tired, and gone through the ruckus. Like, it has not been easy. But I know deep in my heart that if you can shine right now with acceptance of the way things are, with finding diplomatic solutions, with knowing inside your own private truth about how you really feel, and asking the universe to align spiritually its magic, to make those things come to fruition, and understand the patience that it will take, because the universe is going to have to rearrange some things when Mars comes back into Aquarius in the month that follows when it comes direct, right? Like, this is going to be important that, in September, do you remember? Anyway, September is a big month this month it's the only month where, right in between the Mars coming direct and Venus ready to go retrograde, where we get to really start to figure these things out and figure out those things and watch the universe start to place all those pieces in the way that we want them to happen. So put that trust in that. Thank you all so much. It means the world to me, and I'll see you on the next Deep Astrology.
Just like a jailbird or any kind of convict who lives in prison for 30 years and they get back out of the system, and the first thing they do is, within a week, they're like, I want to find a way to get back in. I'm robbing the liquor store just to get in here. Catch me. Because they feel more comfortable going back to that prison. So part of the fear is, especially in the spiritual community, is this next 5 years, sure, it's spiritual, but the universe is bringing this to a place to where it's not so much about us gaining our spiritual consciousness as much as it was in the last 5 years, but how to make the world now fit with that inner world we just dealt with for 5 years. Because that inner world that we dealt with for 5 years didn't really show itself off in the world as much as we would all hope, if that makes sense. It's a lot of great conversations. It's a lot of great conferences. It's a lot of great YouTube video content. But of course, when you talk to your friend down the street, they're like, what? Are you going to show me one of those weird effing YouTube videos again? Then you start to become that person. You can only imagine in my own life, it's like, oh, so what do you do for a living? I don't even say anything anymore, because it's too hard to describe, right? But that's the whole thing of what's coming in this next 5 years, is leaving that deep inner world that's been very misunderstood. And even I don't think any one of us can come out saying that we understand it completely still. That's, I think, a little bit of a head trip, right? Because it's like, that all really happened to me, and I really shifted so much. And I used to do conferences here at the LAX Hilton called the Conscious Life Expo. It's like America's largest conscious life expo, right? So I used to be a speaker here, and I've done many things here, and that's why I picked this event, because I was like, well, I've done some of my best presentations of my life here, so I might as well maybe come back here. Maybe there's something going on here. So that's why I picked the space. And I've never done one here at home, because I'm from LA. I live here. So, but during those events, I would meet people, and I'm not joking. This is during the last 5 years. I would leave my talk, right? And there'd be some random guy being like, yeah, I'm from this planet or whatever, and giving me a piece of geometry in my hand of the weirdest thing, and then I'm having a panic attack out on the street. I'm not even kidding. There were so many weird things with understanding what a walk-in is. I don't know if you guys understand the term of walk-in. It's almost like we all, in a weird way, for those that have been aware, have gone through walk-in experiences in ourselves. I at first thought maybe it was only certain individuals trying to pump up their own spiritual ego, like, I'm a walk-in, right? Like, I came here from another planet, and you didn't. So, it was a lot like that. I don't know if you guys have been kind of, this is kind of, real deep spiritual stuff, but yeah, everywhere I'd go, it would kind of be like, oh yeah, I'm a walk-in. And then I started to think like, well, what is this experience that we've been all going through, right? I believe that what the last 5 years was that's bridging to this next 5 years is the actual collective conscious dark night of the soul. So we talked about individual dark nights of the souls that have been going on for the last 5 years all over the place, but nobody's talked about, well, was that a collective dark night of the soul?